Shalom to Emanuela Giuffre, EU Ambassador to Israel.
Shalom, Yon.
Soon the American embassy is moving to Jerusalem. It's a nice atmosphere. Is there any chance that we'll see the EU embassy in Jerusalem?
The connection between Jerusalem and the Jewish people is very strong, and no one can deny it. It's based on history, religion, many years of longing to come back, a presence in the city. And we don't deny this at all. I think it's important to keep this in mind. But Jerusalem is also important to the three monotheistic religions, also Islam and Christianity. And it's also important to the Palestinians. We have many Palestinians living in Jerusalem. And the EU position has always been, and it is still today, that the status of Jerusalem has to be solved through negotiations between the sides so that it can become the capital of two states, because we believe that the solution is two-state solution. So this is our position. We have confirmed it at the level of heads of state and government last December. And as long as we don't get to that point, the delegation of the European Union and the embassy of the member states are planning to remain in Tel Aviv.
So does the EU oppose this move of the Trump administration?
This is a decision that the Americans have taken. We decided to remain in line with what we call the international consensus, which is grounded on United Nations Security Council decision. And we remain on that position. But doesn't mean that we don't continue working with the Israeli government and visiting Jerusalem from time to talk to the various ministries that are located here.
Tell us about the EU role in Israel, in the Middle East. We'll talk about some of the controversies, but let's start with the positive. So many important cooperations. Give us a taste what the EU is doing here.
Okay, well, in Israel, first of all, the EU is the main economic partner of Israel. Trade is booming. Last year, Israeli export to the European Union went up by 20%. Congratulations to the Israeli exporters. Altogether, it's about 36 billion euros in trade volume. Europe is the destination #1 for Israeli goods, and Israeli importing largely from the EU, so first trading partner. Strong cooperation in the area of research and development. Israel is associated to our programs Horizon 2020 for research and innovation, and of course Israel has all the necessary prerequisites to be one strong competitor in this area. €500 million of grants to Israeli companies and higher education institutions in the last 4 years. Again, a great success. We're working on culture, we're working on education, we're working on many different areas, environment, energy, etc. So extremely strong relations. And of course, Europe is around the corner. So Israelis tend to visit Europe first, also because they don't need a visa to go there.
It's easier. Will it become easier and easier for Europeans and Israelis to go and visit each other?
Yes, I think it's becoming easier and easier since the entry into force of the Open Sky Agreement that has liberalized air transport. The number of flights to and for Europe have increased dramatically, and the costs have gone down equally dramatically. And we can see this in the last days. We see the Giro d'Italia, an important European sports event, coming to Israel. We saw the European Championship of Judo that took place in Tel Aviv. So yes, I think we see it every day, more interactions and more opportunity for traveling.
Back home in Europe, you're the delegate here in Israel. Back home, there's of course the issue of anti-Semitism. Is the EU, as this big organization, fighting anti-Semitism?
Absolutely. We do it for two reasons. One, because it's a threat to the Jewish European citizens, but also because anti-Semitism per se is a threat to European values. The values of tolerance, of non-discrimination, these are clearly incompatible with anti-Semitism. So we do fight anti-Semitism concretely. Let me give you 2 or 3 examples. Number one, we have adopted laws against anti-Semitism. We have now a Europe-wide, a pan-European legislation on xenophobia that covers also anti-Semitism. So it has become punishable by criminal law to deny the Holocaust or trivialize the Holocaust, or to make an anti-Semitic statement that can incite to violence. It's punishable by criminal law. Another example is the fight of anti-Semitism online. We've seen, unfortunately, that the new media have become a fertile ground for xenophobic statement and anti-Semitism as well. The European Commission has agreed with the major internet companies, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, a code of conduct. According to this code of conduct, these companies have agreed to take down within 24 hours posting that have anti-Semitic, hateful content. And it's working. These media are monitored by civil society that reports the infringement, and because the European Union is behind that, the company take it down. And the third example is, of course, education. We need to promote the education to make sure that the Europeans and those that have arrived in Europe recently understand what has happened in Europe in the past, understand the anti-Semitic trend that we have for many years, what has happened during the Holocaust, and therefore this will be not repeated in the future.
So with so much really positive activities and activities that are in the consensus of the people here of Israel, why politics? Why do we see the EU with stances that are about promoting even the two-state solution? We know that the EU funds and helps many organizations where, at least in terms of the Israelis, are considered leftist, some even radical left, at least that's are they considered in Israel. Why that topic? Why do you see yourself also as someone who needs to promote and push to a specific political direction?
First of all, we don't fund organizations. We fund the project activity on a case-by-case basis. And any organization that has a good idea that is in line with our priority can present a proposal. And I invite everyone to do so if they think that they have good ideas. We promote the two-state solution not because we think that it's ideologically better than other solution, just because we haven't seen any other solution that seems to be viable. A solution that can meet the concerns, the interests and the aspirations of both parties. We see that the majority of the Israeli, according to opinion polls, still remain convinced that this is the only solution. This is not to say that it's an easy solution, that it's easy to get there. We've been involved in this conflict for so many years, and we've been going through the ups and downs together with the Israelis, so we know how difficult it is to achieve it. But in order to get to a peaceful outcome, we need to have a concrete ideas, something that seems to be viable. And at the moment, the only viable option is the two-state solution.
We know that the EU supports the nuclear plan, the nuclear deal with Iran. Now that you're here, the country which is a bit more threatened, practically speaking, does this give you a different angle, a different view of the danger of the threat itself?
Obviously, when you're sitting here, you feel the danger and you feel the threat in a different manner. But the nuclear deal was designed precisely to address that threat. It was the objective of the nuclear deal, the JCPOA, is to prevent a nuclear weapon in Iran. This is something that Israeli and the European share as an objective. I don't think we have a disagreement on this at all. The nuclear deal has proved to be effective. It's based not on trust, but it's based on a verification system and monitoring system that is very robust, very intrusive. It's run by the International Atomic Agency in Vienna. And they have already produced 10 reports following the implementation of the deal. And all of the reports, they have certified compliance by Iran under the obligations of the deal. So in that respect, we think that the JCPOA do respond to concerns, and it's a useful tool that needs to be used and maintained.
Okay, how long has it been since you came into office here in Jerusalem, in Israel?
It's been 8 months.
8 months. So how is it?
It's great. I love the place. This is my second time in Israel. I was already here between 2003 and 2007.
What was your role then?
I was the head of the political section at the delegation of the European Union. So I've decided to come back. I had the opportunity to come back.
What's the secret of Israel? Why is it so? Why do so many people come back? And
well, because it's people are nice, people are engaging. The weather is super. This is a country that is perhaps small, but there's so many things to offer in terms of ideas, in terms of innovations, in terms of landscapes, and in terms of history. So if you want to be busy, this is a place to be.
Ambassador Giuffre, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Yoni.